So since I've been back from New York Comic Con, I finally got to catch up with some movies. And the other day I watched this movie called Oddity. Um, and I don't know, like I feel like I'm kind of like in the middle when it comes to this movie because some people on my letterbox are like, "This movie's amazing," and then other people are like, "I don't know about that." Like I said, I land in the middle of this. I don't think it's great, nor do I think it's awful or anything. So this movie takes place in Ireland, and some woman is, I guess, like renovating some old ass house. I mean, it's Ireland, it's non-American, so homes are way older. um so she's like renovating it, but she's got like a little tent, like in, I would guess, the, where is that part? Is it like the basement? Is it the like you have to like go in the house and then there's like a stairs that goes down it, but then she's like right by the door. I don't know. It's in the house. So, like she's setting up for things, like I guess she's getting internet connected. I guess she's, getting the heat and stuff going on. I don't know. She seems to be the only bitch who's working on this home. I get it. Um, so yeah, so she's doing that, and then one night she like goes out to her car. Mind you, this place is in the middle of nowhere, as a lot of these stories happen. And obviously I'm going to spoilers. This movie's been out for a while, and all that stuff. So yeah. So she goes out to her car to like grab something, which was like right there. She comes back, she closes the door, and she sells like the key inside, and all of a sudden there's like a banging on the door, of course. She opens the thing, there's like a dude with like a weird eye, and he's like, "Someone just came into your house." And she's like, were you watching me?" And he's like, you know, uh, yeah, I mean, I wasn't being a creep, but I was like looking and I saw a guy go in. Like, you gotta leave the house or I'll come in and help you look. So again, she's rightfully, like sus about it, because she's like, "I don't know about it, man. Like, sure. Like, again, why are you here? My home in the middle of nowhere. Like, why are you watching me, right?" And then she's like, "Nah, bye." Slide the thing. And then so she also has like a DSLR thing set up, and it takes pictures in random like intervals and stuff. And you hear on the phone with someone who is like, "Hey, I've had the camera set up. I haven't seen anything. All I've caught are orbs." I'm guessing they're thinking that the house is haunted, right? Sure, why not? Again, it's old, like homes in Ireland, and so everything's haunted, right? Sure. So she was like in this like little tent in her home, where the fuck it is. She was in this like yellow tent. Of course, it's like awesome that it's like as yellow as my freaking cough drops thing, and everything is like gray, muted, whatever. So she's in there, and then she's like flipping through the camera, and she's like, "Yep, yep, yep," and all of a sudden there's like you see like there's like a dude standing outside the tent, and she's like, "What the fuck?" And you're like, "All right, this movie's going," and then all of a sudden she's like, "What if I unzip the tent a little?" Cause that's what you would do. I would literally be like, "Oh." I would just be like, well, it's either, I mean, I get it. She like slowly unzipped it. I don't know. I'd be like, "Ah!" Again, American. Always with a gun. I don't know. I'd be like, "Ah." Or, I don't know, like, jump while you're in the tent so you knock into the guy. I don't know. Like, I don't know what my fight or flight always goes fight, but I don't know what the fight would end up being. Anyway, so she like slowly like unzips, zips the fucking thing, and all of a sudden like she like pulls it down. There's like a guy, and she's like, "Ah!" Also, this movie, the thing that had me give this movie a lower score was the movie's sound is "fuck you," and also like the whole like nowadays the whole sound thing where like sometimes it's like dialogue is really low and then action scenes are really loud, like all that stuff, and then of course there's some freaking either like film like bro like Andy or some guy who works in the industry, they're like, "No, that's why you gotta watch it in this specific setup," and it's like, okay, so I'm the asshole. I am the asshole for not owning, like, a home theater to watch this movie in. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I wasn't watching it on my phone, because it always comes up to, like, "Oh, you probably watched it on your phone." No, I have a computer. I have a tower. my god, man. Like, I have a good sound system, you know? I'm sorry it doesn't have, like, I don't have, like, two other speakers behind me, and then the sound bar, and the seats shake, too. I shouldn't do that. This is a very old chair, as you can tell. I've had this chair for well over a decade. I'm surprised it hasn't killed me yet. Okay, I shouldn't do that. Anyway, so yeah, so the movie would be like like throughout the movie, the dialogue's like, so I had to like turn it up, right? I turned it up. I turned it the fuck up. And again, my sound system's good. I don't have to like crank it all the way to 11 to like hear anything. Like I'm looking at my knob. You heard me. Yeah. Oh my god. The thing is like here, like the whole story. It's like here. I turned it all the way to where it's like halfway, and it was loud. And mind you, it's like Irish words and stuff, And then like when they would do the stinger jump scare, it'd be like bing, and you're like And it's like, and there's a few reviews I saw on Letterboxd that were like, oh man, this movie got me a few times. I'm like, yes, this movie also got me a few times, but not because it was like a good scare. It's because it was loud. Like good scares aren't just like a bing, That's what like made like the first Saw really good. That's what like makes like what a lot of like good horror is that like sometimes like you don't have to have that bing stinger sound or the boom, like that. The sound shouldn't be the thing that scares you. It should be the visual thing that scares you. But again, what the fuck do I know? But anyway, so that's like one of the things I was like, nah, movie, you've already like, I'm decreasing you for having me crank the sound up to fuck with me. Like, no. It's like, it reminds me of like, back when I was in college and there was like the things where like, hey, what's this song? And you're like looking at of course, like the windows while you're looking at the lyrics, you're trying to listen to it, and all of a sudden it's like, ah! Then they put like a screamer, and there's like a picture of like, Linda Blair from The Exorcist, so you're like, ah! It's like that. It's like, fuck you. Anyway, so this woman dies. Next day, I think it's supposed to be like a year later or something. It's like some woman's like weird kooky shop kind of thing. And then the dude who played young Brian May in the Queen movie, he comes in and he's just like, hello, exposition, I am your brother-in-law. And she's like, yes, I am blind. And blah, blah, blah. And she's like holding something, and she's like not fully touching it, but she's holding a thing, and she's like, I'm blind. Can you tell I'm blind? And it's funny because she's the woman on like the cover of the poster and all that stuff. And I thought it was Gwendolyn Christie at first, because apparently every white woman with short blonde hair that's almost the color of their skin is Gwendolyn Christie to me. Anyway, it's not. I don't think she's Irish, but anyway. But yeah, so this woman is like, she's blind, but she's also a medium, and like, she's psychic, and my hair clip fell, and all that stuff. So yeah, so she's like holding like some kind of like, like bellhop bell, and she was like, oh, exposition about this won't come back sometime later in the movie. Anyway, so the brother-in-law was like, yeah, well, I'm gonna try to like figure things out with the house again, and my new lady. And then the sister's like, bitch, what? My sister died like not that long ago. What do you mean you got a new lady? And he was like, well, we know each other from work. And it's like, I was already like, oh, I wonder how. Like, I was already like, yeah, I feel like, yeah, it's something to do with your wife's death. Like, that's another thing, is that this movie was kind of predictable in that part. So, the movie goes on, and then, like, things are getting kind of spooky, but, again, they're only, like, because they're suddenly, like, anyway, bah! And you're like, god damn it, it's loud! Fuck! So, anyway, so the one-eyed guy, he ends up dead. Because he ends up dead. He's not the killer, because he's not the killer, because when the lady unzipped the thing, because she closed the door on the guy, so the guy didn't come in the house. When she unzipped, it was like some guy, I don't know anything, he looked like the Riddler from the new Batman movie, you're like, oh god, a Redditor, fuck, shit, I'm gonna die. And so then, yeah, so that guy is that you see him like bludgeoned to death in like the beginning of the movie, and so then, yeah, the brother-in-law and the new lady, you know, are like in this house, you know, it's old, it's creepy, but exactly how every like horror film that's like has a like a house where they're like, oh man, why do we move out here in the middle of the country and blah blah blah, but it's so nice and so away from all the people, blah blah blah, but it's creepy anyway. So the woman, well, the husband is a doctor, and he's like, okay, I work nights and all that stuff, which is why the woman was like dealing with the house during the day and all that stuff, because the husband, you know, he's off in the city because he works nights or whatever shit, so that's why she doesn't have a man with her in the evenings anyway. And the woman is like, oh yeah, I'm staying in the city as well, because again, she kind of works at the hospital thing with him, because I think she does pharmaceuticals or something. um but then the sister shows up, the blind sister shows up, and then, you know, the two of them are like, why the fuck is she here? Like, when did you, what the fuck? And then, you know, she's like, oh, well, you did say we should, you know, like, meet again, like, on the anniversary of my sister's death. And he was like, oh, I didn't mean, like, exactly the day of. I was thinking we were gonna, like, chat and then find, like, a day and most likely never have it happen. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood, you know, kind of stuff. So, like, you know, she's just, like, there. There's, like, you know, I guess, like, Uber dropped her off or something. And, you know, instead of being like, hey, let me just drive you back, she's like, no, I insist on staying. And it was like, okay. And then, like, this, like, fucking chest or something box thing gets delivered as well. And there's, like, this weird fucking, just, like, look at the image. Yeah, it's, like, this weird, like, sculpted thing, you know? And it's, like, inside the box. You're like, what the fuck is this shit? And she's just like, oh, I need it, you know, for reasons. And at one point, like, you know, so the new lady, like, you know, the woman's blind, so she's just like, okay, she's just kind of there. She'll just be, like, sitting there. And she's like, do you need anything? She's like, no, I'm just blind. I'll just sit here. Anyway, so the new lady would walk around and she would, like, peek over sometimes, and all of a sudden, like, that thing is just, like, you know, just, like, sitting in the chair. It was in the box. She was like, how did you move it? And the sister's like, move what? You know? She's like, the thing. She's like, what do you mean? Oh no, I'm blind, you know? So it doesn't reveal that she's not blind, because I thought that it was going to reveal into the whole, like, gotcha kind of thing. Like, I faked my blindness the whole time. Or, like, my blindness isn't, you know, severe. Or, like, I'm Daredevil and I can somehow see, like, a bat. You know? Anyway, so the thing starts moving, all that stuff. And then there's, like, holes in the back of that creature, monster, the thing's head. And so there's, ow. So then the new lady starts, like, pulling things out of the head. So it's, like, it was, like, pictures of, like, the two sisters. It was, like, a vial of blood. It was, like, hair. It was, like, random things. She's like, I'm just gonna pull these things out of the hole. I don't know why she would do that. I wouldn't, you know? I would just be like, what's in the hole? Shine a flashlight and be like, oh, there's stuff in there. Yeah, I ain't touching this thing. And then she also, like, went to the front of it before she started pulling it out and just, like, touched the mouth and, like, looked in. And you expect it to, like, chomp on her. It didn't. But as she's pulling this stuff out, the freaking, you know, blind sister is like, what are you doing? You know, and all that stuff. And she's just like, I don't know, bitch, what the fuck is this? And she's like, leave it, put it back in. She's like, all right. Putting it back in. Because, you know, the blind sister is definitely doing probably some spells or whatever stuff, because she does have, like, an oddities and curiosity shop and all that stuff. So she's like, I'm gonna do some magic. I don't fucking know what the bitch is doing. Anyway, so, like, more weird stuff starts happening in the house and all that shit. Also, like, oh, the sister, like, somehow she got in possession of that, the guy with the weird eye. It so happened to be, it's a glass eye. So she, you know, it's like unravels like a tissue kind of thing. There's the eye. And she's holding on the eye. And because she can, like, see things, she has, like, see things if she touches an item. So if it's a personal item of yours. So if you're like, this is my cell phone, and she touches your cell phone, she's like, ooh, girl, your fucking browser history is nasty. You know, that kind of stuff. And then, did I just get a text as I touched my phone? That was weird. Okay, just get a push notification when I talk about browser history being nasty. Like, okay, what am I talking? Just calling myself out. Anyway, so she's holding this freaking glass eye, and she's just like, you know, that whole thing whenever someone, like, gets the visions, and you see that, like, the guy with the eye, like, he's actually a good guy, and that, you know, he had, so it turns out that where the guy with the eye, because he's a little mental, he was actually at a mental institution, oddly enough, where the husband works at, and the lady with pharmaceuticals works at as well. He overhears the husband telling an orderly, like a big orderly guy, like, hey, can you go kill my wife? And I was like, I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it. Yeah, I fucking knew it. Because, like, first of all, your wife died. And not in a, oh, I saw her dying because she, like, had cancer or something. And, you know, I was slowly moving on. So then the fact that you had a new lady wasn't so bad. Because probably you end up meeting them in the midst of your wife dying. Like a lot of stories happen or whatever. But you're just like, I feel like you found, you know, it's the whole like, well, this one, she's younger and stuff, and you know how gross men are. And so, it's like he dead ass is in there being like, I need you to kill my wife. And the guy was like, yo, serious? And he's like, yeah, but you gotta make it look like an attack or something. But like, just kill her in the tent. Don't fuck up the rest of the house, because the cleanup's gonna be really hard. And that's what you see it, where it's like, the tent is yellow, and then it's like, psh, like red, like as red as my shirt, like, psh, and then the guy's just standing in front of it. And the orderly was like trying to like involve like rape and all that stuff. He's like, well, you know, that does happen if someone comes in at night. And the husband's like, whoa, don't like violate her body, just kill her. Oh, okay, there's a line, bro. Okay, there's a line with you. You want your wife dead. Anyway, so the guy with the glass eye hears this and is like, oh my god, he was released, you know, because I guess he was better. He was released, knew where the wife lived, so went there to like warn her. Obviously, you're like a dude with like this crazy glass eye who showed up in the middle of the night. So, you know, the guy was in there, and then because, you know, they try to pin the blame on the guy with the glass eye, so he got recommitted again. And then, you know, he gets bludgeoned to death because they had to cover it up. Even if he's in the institution, they were like, hey, you can't tell anyone that I tried to kill my wife, so you dead too. So yeah, it's like, okay, you found that out. So then, of course, like, the sister knows, and she's like, okay, well, you know, you're an asshole. And he's like, what? No, I'm not an asshole. I'm just some man who's trying to find new pussy or something. And so, like, the idea of, like, okay, the husband was the killer all along kind of thing, again, I kind of knew really early on in the movie before we even hit, like, the second act. I was like, I feel like I know where this is going. So then, the husband's trying to get rid of the sister, and, like, because, you know, he's like, oh, answer the phone when I call, da-da-da. But he leaves, like, this random trapdoor that just so happens that this house has in front of the blind sister. And so then she, like, walks when she hears the phone ring. She just falls through it, and, you know, and she's like, you know, all that stuff. So when he gets to the house, and she's like, all that stuff, he's like, bye, bitch, you know. Actually, it wasn't him. It was the orderly went back. He asked the orderly to go back to, like, check if, like, you know, things have been completed. You know, sometime later, you know, body gets cleaned up, all that stuff. Oh, no. And, you know, because, again, it's an accident, because she fell, and she's blind, but no one's there to take care of her. Oh, no, like, whatever. Apparently that wasn't suspect at all. So, you know, time goes by, you know, the sister is, you know, dead along, you know, both sisters are dead, and the freaking, her new lady, I think, ended up leaving him or something, because she was like, no, because she, like, all the weird shit that was happening in the house, she's like, I'm done, I'm out, you know. So then he's in the house, a package comes in, and what's inside the package? The bellhop bell that we got, you know, the exposition about. And the exposition is that if you ring the bell, this bellhop boy, the spirit of this bellhop boy will show up and kill whoever rang the bell. So he, like, rings it. He's like, bing! And he's, like, looking around the house, like, you know, where he was sitting. He's like, no. Fuck it. Bing! You know? And then he's just sitting there like, ha, whatever. Because, mind you, he was told that story. So he's like, whatever. So then he's just kind of like, and the movie ends with, like, the, like, oh, like, bellhop boy spirit, like, right behind him. So you know what's gonna happen. He gets his comeuppance, but, you know, I don't, you know, it took 2 other people to die, like, well, 3 other people to die for him to get that. So, yeah, so I feel like like I said, I feel like the movie would have been better if, one, they didn't force you to turn up the volume in order to then get jump scared. And then also, if it wasn't such an obvious giveaway within the first act that the husband was like the bad person to begin with, kind of stuff, I don't know. I think putting the element that like the sister is blind and a medium and all that stuff was a little like so many things on top of like, oh, she's blind, and then she also has this curiosity shop, but every item is cursed, so if you try to steal it, like, it's just like, oh my god, like, it felt like such a mishmash of a lot of these kind of like tropes, because then it's like, is this a haunted house like scary movie, or are we looking at like it's supposed to be like a possession thing at the same time, but also it's not, because it's kind of like a vengeful spirit thing, because it's also like the husband's the killer, so it's like we're checking off like 6 different subgenres already, and sometimes that could be done really well, but this was kind of like meh. Like I said, I gave it 3 stars, 3 out of 5 stars. Like I said, it's not terrible, it's not great, it's not going on either list at the end of the year, beginning of the year kind of stuff. But I just want to like talk about it because it's one of those movies that got like talked about a lot when it came out. Like I said, it's either people who really hate it, really love it, and it's funny. Just according to my letterbox, a lot of people really loved it. I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't in it. I don't know. But then again, I mean, I don't always agree with everyone. So anyway, yeah, that was Oddity. It just all right.